Right, greetings everybody. So today we are building towards my Crusade FREEGUILD Fusiliers, which is, this is effectively the example and test that I was planning on doing, which are building towards a classic classic British Crusade army force. So I've started on the shields, and effectively what I've done is, on the front here, we've started on corn red, and on the backs, we've moved on to dried bark. On all of the silver, we've done lead belcher, and then I've covered it in Agrax Earthshade. After that, what I'm going to do is do a light dry brush of Evil Sun Scarlet and Gawthorpe Brown. The Evil Sun Scarlet, of course, on the front, and Gawthorpe Brown on the back. Because effectively what we want is, for this look, ready for, ready for the colours and everything else. So that's what I'm going to do. As you can see, the shields are coming along quite nicely. And we'll see what happens. Right, here we go. So there, I've also painted this this banner thing, Celestia Grey, which I'm going to be doing Ulthuan Grey on all of them. To continue with this, what we're going to do is we've got highlights here. So we're just going to take some Wild Rider Red and just do some very light highlighting. Just on edges. Just on these tiny pieces of the raised wood area. We're going to do exactly the same on the reverse, on the wood. On these sides here with Baneblade Brown. And like I say, and then also we're going to highlight some of the silver on these with Runefang. So again, we're just being very light with it, and just sort of doing an edge like this down the sides there, just so these pieces stand out, like so. We're also, because we're building up these these guys, we're going to build up on their on their uniforms. So the first thing we want to do is do Celestia Grey, because we need to build up to a white from a black. So all we're going to do is start on Celestia Grey and just paint all of these clothing grey. We're going to do exactly the same throughout the whole army, just like we did on the uniforms for the bearers on Pontifex Zenestra. Like so. So I'm going to do all of that on the entire army, on the whole unit, and and we'll go do all of these highlights, and bring this up to Ulthuan Grey. Right, so the next thing that we're going to do is continue with bringing these guys up to white. What I did was I painted some Drakenhof Nightshade as a wash over the over the uniforms, and so then what we're going to do is we're going to do an Ulthuan Grey. And so we're just taking our Ulthuan Grey and dry brushing it, because we need a couple of thin coats of this, and we're just going to go sideways and just try and go roughly, because we want these nice crevices and things where the wash has settled, and just very lightly. Right, it's going to take a couple of thin coats, because of the the power of the blue. and then we can have a white highlight afterwards. That's basically where we're at and what we're doing. So we'll continue that on with the with the rest of the unit, and then we're going to probably move on to some boots and some leather. Right, so here we have the the two shades that I've done. Now I don't want like a really smooth coat on my cloaks. What I'm going for is like a really nice sort of like dark dingy look on my guys, because of where they're going to, where I sort of like have my own personal storyline on where they're fighting. Now what I started to do was I started to do a bit of leather, and then I started to do a bit of silver, but then I've realised that I kind of need, effectively I want to do the leather and the silver at the same time, but I need to do the faces first. So in the in the Cities of Sigmar book, there is a sort of like flesh tone, there is a skin tone section. So what I'm going to do is, because I have 10 guys, but I also have another unit of 10, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 5 guys in the dark tone and 5 guys in the flush tone, and then on my next one I will do 5 guys in the light tone and 5 guys in the mid tone. So then effectively what I will have then is 5 guys of each to show like a to show like a mixed tone of skin tones. So for the effectively for the dark tone and the flush tone, I'm going to start with Bugman's Glow and where is it? Carcinogen Flesh. So the Carcinogen Flesh will look exactly like my Pontifex Sinestra, and then there's the Bugman's Glow look will look like it did on one of her walkers. So I'm going to start going through and painting like 5 of these guys like this and 5 of these guys like that. Now this guy had a metal face, so what I will do is instead I have the little carrier, the ammo carrier, so he will get a skin tone as well. Right, so here's the brown and the and the silver done. So we've done Mornfay brown and we've done the Belcher. Effectively what we're doing is we're building up all of our base colours before we add Graxer shade, and then we move on to our next. I mean, the next colour for the brown will be Doom Ball, and we're going to highlight with a bit of on the silver on a bit of Rune Fang Steel. We're going to do that afterwards. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do our red base. So this is the this is the most important bit, and effectively what we've got is, and I've missed a bit of silver anyway, so I'll do that in a moment. But we've got all of these these outer rim layers here that I'm doing. So we're just going along here nice and fine with our finest brush, with Mephiston red. And then after that we're going to do we're going to go over with the All Sun Scarlet, just to sort of highlight in certain areas. I'm going to do that with all of our Fusiliers as well. And then also there's also another piece here, if we look, these outer rims here on the tunic. Which you can't see at the minute because I am blocking the camera. Zoom out a bit. There we go. So we got these these rims here. We're also going to paint the gloves as well red, but also, as you can see here on this, we have clothing, and on the clothing, if you look at if you study Crusade clothing from the Crusades, it was in greys as underneath. So what I've done is I've got some Mechanicus standard grey, and we're just going to start painting the underclothing in that grey too. Like so. And then also the other thing that we're going to do as well is this, the igniter. I'm going to paint dry bark, ready for ready for a Mornfang brown. And then on the rope on here, we're also going to paint that in Zandri dust. So I'm going to do all of that, and then I'll go come back. Right, so here is all of the gold and the grey, all of the red and the grey. So the next thing I need to start to do, which I've sort of started, is where is it? So all of this wood down here, and this wood here. There's also some wood down here. I'm doing in drier bark before we start moving on to the washers. And then there's the string on the on this piece here, which I'm doing in Zandri dust. And there's also like a couple of characters that have things slightly different. So here we go. So this guy's got a bag, and there's a couple of other sort of like areas of that which I'm going to do in Rhine oxide, just to give a slightly different colour. Right, so I've also, I've done some Retributor armour here on the gold, and then there's also some gold pieces on, like, several of the blades that, let's see if I've got a better example. There, so, so these, these saws, what I've done is I've done the edge here, because some of these guys have close combat weapons. Next, what I'm going to do is I am going to do Carabag Crimson on the on the gold on the red gloves, and we're going to do Agrax Earthshade on sort of all of the silver and all of the all of the clothing, all of the light brown, the grey cloth, and we're also going to do it on all of these brown leather too. There's no point in doing Carabag Crimson across the edge, like the edge. The fine edges that I've done, because it'll just, we'll just cover the whole model in red, which is not what we want to go for, especially on a white clothing background. So we also want to be super careful as well on the white clothing, to try and avoid any sort of like areas that we might need to touch up. And of course the way the pooling will work and everything else, we'll have to stand this model up and rest it against something. And of course, because I'm holding it by the weapon, which we are also going to do, we'll probably have to do this in 2 stages. Or I might be able to hold his feet. Obviously this guy has a silver faceplate, so I can be a bit more sloppy over his face, but when you come to your own faces and everything on the helmeted heads, watch those regular faces. And then effectively, once all of this is dry on all of our models, then we can move on to our final highlights, and that's pretty much, we're pretty much done. Then it's just a case of bringing this and the shield together. So I've just got that to do on an entire unit, and then we will move on.
It's me, it's James.
Right, so here we go. Everything is dry. Next, what we're going to do is on the gloves, we're gonna very lightly go over in Evil Sun Scarlet. Bring that ease, and then we'll highlight in Wild Red to red. And then we're just effectively now we're just doing highlights on everything else. So and any touch-ups like the silver there that I've just gone over. But so for our highlights, effectively we are doing a Shabty de Bone on the fur line here. It's around the wick even. So we're just highlighting around the edge like so. We are going to do some scrag brown on this brown leather. So we just start like this, very finely. Just like on the shields, we do some, we'll do some Gawthor brown on this, this dry boxed wood that we did. On the silver, we're going to do some highlights of Runefang steel. Just to bring up a few areas. Like these little rivets here. Do an edge highlight down this side here, like so. Down the edge of the bayonet too. And of course some edge highlighting along all of this. And we're also on the gold, we're just going to do a bit of auric gold just to bring up some of these pieces too. Like so. And then once we've done all of that, we will glue on the shield. And here's the final result. So this is exactly what what we're going for with my with my Crusade Force. Oh, I've also done some some highlighting down here in what you call it, in White Scar on the what's it, on the cloth. But as you can see, it is a very cool looking Crusade soldier. I've got some Black Templars do do like a Templar looking symbol that I've got some coming that I'll stick on all of my army. But this is effectively what we're doing for the for my Cities of Sigmar. So we're going to we're going to rush through and paint through the entire army. I'm going away up to Warhammer World soon, so I mean the filming schedule is going to be a bit all over the place. So I want to get everything done as soon as possible. But thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been informative and helpful if you want to do your own Crusade army. And I will see you soon.